Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 2 of the Crimson Rant. I'm your host tonight, and simply none other than the Crimson Warrior, me. So, guys, I wanted to go over some things with you, and I would like to say this directly also to Game Freak and Nintendo. Okay? There has been a long time issue with the connection between the Pokemon Stadium games and, you know, between Pokemon Stadium games and the connection to be able to use your custom Pokemon again in the Stadium games. Because obviously, in this newer era of the Nintendo Switch era, there's no accessible way where you can use your custom Pokemon in the free battles or any of the battles in the Pokemon Stadium games, unless if you go back to the old school N64 and you want to plug in your game pack into the back of the N64 controllers and then slide in the slot the Pokemon RPG games like Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, all of those ones. Now, here's why this is a problem. Because as we know, as veteran Pokemon fans, back in the old days of the Pokemon games, the problem with those old cartridges for Game Boy Color and Game Boy, like all of those ones, there was this major issue inside of the cartridges. And I'm not talking about the typical power battery that you use to turn on the Game Boys with, where it'll show you the light color on like the little dot light up, like the light up dot color on there to tell you if the battery's high or medium or low. I'm not talking about that typical power battery. There's a built-in battery actually inside of the cartridge along with the chip that's inside of the cartridge. Well, once that battery runs dry, it's done. Your game is going to automatically erase forever. So anytime you try to restart your game or save a file and then turn it off and then turn it back on later at some other time, too bad. It's erased for good. And that's the problem with those old cartridges back from the early 2000s and late 90s. You know, they hadn't developed better technology yet to be able to correct that. And that didn't happen until the release of Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald Pokemon versions in 2003. When they came out with the Game Boy SP and Game Boy SP Advance, all those ones. So, so they finally fixed that problem. But because, they didn't, but because of the timing when Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2 came out, as you guys know, the original Pokemon Stadium was around in 1999 in that era when it was released or something like that. And then, as you know, Pokemon Stadium 2, if I remember right, I think it was the year 2000 or something like that, when either 2000 or 2001, I believe it's the year 2000 if I remember right, when Pokemon Stadium 2 was released to the N64. So we missed the timing because of the bad old crappy cartridges that we had for the old Pokemon games like Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal. So why this is a problem for me and maybe many other veteran Pokemon fans is because Game Freak, when veteran Pokemon fans were requesting to have an updated non-virtual console version of Gold, Silver, and Crystal, but for the later Nintendo game systems like the Nintendo Switch, prime example, that Game Freak did not want to update that because they felt that it's irrelevant in this era and that it wouldn't be that popular because of the fact that the Pokemon Stadium games were made so long ago, back in 99 and 2000. And I understand why they would think that. But honestly, they would make way more sales, and actually, I personally think it would be really popular again if Game Freak would bring that concept back, but just make it so that that they can make that USB port that I was telling you about that automatically allows you to insert those old N64 game packs and attach it to the USB port, and then have an or actually even better, have like some kind of little mini game pack thing. Actually, this would be better. Some kind of mini game pack thing that you would slide into a USB port, attach it like that, and then they could remake gold, silver, crystal, red, blue, and yellow versions, but like in SD card forms, like just like you do for the Nintendo Switch, or just straight up have the SD cards of those versions and just put it into the Switch itself or something like that. Have some way to work that out, so that way, also with Pokemon Stadiums 1 and 2 in SD card versions, have all of those possible and accessible that way, so that way we can still have a way to access our custom Pokemon, putting it into the Pokemon Stadium games so that we can use our custom Pokemon in those games. Because let's face it, let's be honest, guys, the rental Pokemon in Stadium and Stadium 2 absolutely suck. There aren't any really good standout Pokemon. The only ones that are kind of powerful are like the first stage Pokemon, like some of the starters, whether if it's Ghastly or Squirtle, or you get the picture, like anything like that. And obviously the reason why Game Freak and Nintendo won't make it that the final evolution Pokemon would have the most powerful attacks and instead they have the weakest attacks is because obviously if you give all the most powerful attacks to the middle stage or final stage Pokemon, but you give the weakest attacks to the first stage Pokemon, then nobody's going to play with the first stage Pokemon, which I understand. I get why they're doing that, why Game Freak and Nintendo does that. However, I don't 100% agree with what they do, because I feel it can be more balanced. Why not give all stages of Pokemon, first, middle, and final stages of them? Why not give them all custom and powerful moves? Why not give all of them like powerful attacks? So because like how do I explain it? Like you can balance it out. Like you can give strong attacks to all stages of all Pokemon, because Pokemon fans are going to have their personal favorite Pokemon, and it's not always the final evolution stages or the middle stages that are their favorites. Sometimes, in fact, my best friend, some of his favorite Pokemon of all time are first stage Pokemon, like Machop, Abra, and Squirtle or Totodile, like any of those. So it doesn't necessarily mean that people won't play with first stage Pokemon. So why not make it fair for all stages of all Pokemon and give all of them strong attacks? So this is where I come in. This is where I feel personally that it's better to just have your own custom Pokemon in the Stadium games, because then you can give them the moves that you want no matter what stage it is, whether if it's a first stage Pokemon, mid stage, or final stage Pokemon. And back then, I'll admit, like I did get some Game Shark cheats through one of my other friends, because it was the only way that I could get some of the legendary Pokemon that you normally couldn't get in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. And we've had a problem that us veteran Pokemon fans have been pissed off about for many years, like how there was no legal way to get Mew or Celebi into the games unless if you used a Game Shark cheat, or unless if you got an exclusive DLC offer from places like GameStop or other game places like that, where you had a one-time you better hurry in type deal, or else you're going to miss out. And if you missed out on that opportunity, then you're never going to get that certain very rare or legendary Pokemon ever again. It's just unless if somebody, out of the kindness of their heart, decides to trade it to you through their game. And most people are not going to, well, I mean, unless if they're willing to duplicate their Pokemon with the duplication glitch with Gold and Silver version. But you know, it's just not always going to happen that way, the way you want it. So this is where Game Freak needs to end the controversy and officially make it legal, and not just a one-time DLC limited edition deal at a GameStop or other game places. They need to make it that you have a way in the game legally to catch Mew, Celebi, and many other legendaries and rare Pokemon that you normally couldn't get legally inside of the Pokemon games throughout the Pokemon series over the years. So they need to fix that. And once again, they need to fix the whole thing where we can access our custom Pokemon in the Nintendo Switch era and have SD card versions of Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, and Pokemon Stadiums 1 and 2. And then, you know, also be able to use it with the GameCube controllers when you're playing the RPG Pokemon games through those stadium games on the Nintendo Switch. Kind of like what you do when you insert your GameCube controllers to the GameCube USB adapter for, like, when you play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Kirby Star Allies. So, guys, this is a thing that Game Freak doesn't need to understand. So, I mean, well, you know what I mean. Like, they just don't understand. They don't get it like us veteran Pokemon fans do. So I want all of you to reach out to Game Freak and Nintendo. Maybe if you have to, petition or complain and explain to them, like I've said on this video, why it's a big deal to have our own custom Pokemon. Because my original goal many years ago, even though I used Game Shark codes to get all of the rare and legendary Pokemon, like the kinds that you normally couldn't get in Gold, Silver, Crystal, like, I also got an infinite rare candy code, and I wanted to max out all of their levels, and my goal was to catch all 251 Pokemon combined from both of the regions, because obviously Gold, Silver, and Crystal were the only Pokemon versions for its timing that allowed you to play in both the Johto and Kanto regions. So you could fight 16 gym leaders in total. You had the Elite Four in between that timing, and then you had Lance the Champion. And then at the very end of the game, you would fight Red, the final trainer, who is a lot like Ash Ketchum from the Pokemon series, from the anime. and he had some of the toughest, strongest Pokemon in the game. So, with that being said, that there's a possible way. I mean, you can legally catch almost all of the Pokemon, all of the 251 between Gold, Silver, and Crystal, because there's like a trade machine thing in the game that allows you to take old Pokemon with old moves from Red, Blue, and Yellow version, and you can swap it back and forth between those versions in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. So if you had any old Pokemon from Red, Blue, or Yellow, like Mewtwo, well, you now had a legal way for its timing during those days where you could trade Mewtwo over to Gold, Silver, or Crystal and have a legal way to do it. That was a prime example. So you could legally capture almost all 251 Pokemon, but there was that one problem where you could not get Mew or Celebi legally. So honestly, it pisses off many Pokemon fans like us, like me, and I think they need to fix that. So anyways, I came close to reaching my goal of getting almost all of the 251 Pokemon, even through the Game Shark cheats like Mew and Celebi. There were also some shiny Pokemon. Like, for example, I got a pink colored Moltres, which was a shiny Pokemon. Pretty much looked like a flamingo. there was a turquoise Articuno that I got. I also got a brown Entei instead of like the standard red one or whatever. I also got like a turquoise or teal looking Suicune. I got an orange Raikou instead of the standard yellow one. So there were many cool things like that happened through Game Shark. And I had 2 sets of Master Balls, like with 99 per set. And I had infinite rare candies. And back then I didn't know any better that you could use all those vitamins. I should have asked my friends for those infinite vitamin codes so that I could have maxed out all the Pokemon stats, like their attack, defense, special attack, speed, all of those things. Excuse me. Because little did I realize back then that even if you used rare candies to up your Pokemon's levels all the way up to level 100 per Pokemon, it did not raise their stats. It did not max out their stats to where they would be really strong both defensively, offensively, and speed-wise. So I learned that the unfortunate way one time, actually, where I had a level 100 Blissey, and normally I destroyed the Elite Four. I absolutely dominated them throughout the years. And one time I went back and faced the Elite Four just for fun and to gain some experience for my Pokemon or just having a good time. So I take a level 100 Blissey into the Elite Four. I fight Bruno, whose strongest Pokemon was obviously Machamp. So he uses Cross Chop, and this Machamp was in its 40s somewhere. I can't remember the exact level, but I know he was in his 40s. He used the Cross Chop move. He used it on my Blissey, level 100 Blissey. Took it out in one hit from that one move, from just that one move, because of that. So, so that tells you why it's important to have vitamins. Back then, I didn't know that because I was really young, and I didn't know any better back then. But looking back on it now, I wish that I would have asked, if I had have known at the time, I would have asked for infinite vitamins to max out all of the Pokemon stats. So that way I would pretty much have either invincible or near invincible Pokemon with their stats being maxed out, and plus having all their strongest attacks and all being at level 100. So my goal was to have all of that together eventually and have all 251 Pokemon customized the way I wanted it so that my friends and I could duke it out on Pokemon Stadium 2 and have the most epic battles, guys, the most epic battles. It was super awesome. Like, we even did have a lot of those battles with my level 100s, but I didn't have all 251 yet. I came close. I got into, like, I want to say it was like the 220s. So I was probably like 30 or 31 Pokemon away from having all 251 Pokemon. And guys, I can tell you right now, playing with all of those super awesome legendaries and rare Pokemon with my friends and I duking it out in Pokemon Stadium 2 with all those customs, that was like one of the most awesome things ever for my childhood. I kid you not. Like, it was seriously that fun. So these are the kinds of things that Game Freak and Nintendo don't think on. So this is why we need to reach out to them so that we can do this. Now, keep in mind, remember that Virtual Console remakes of those games. There's no way for you to send your custom Pokemon over from there into the Pokemon Stadium games. So, also, if they remake Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal and Pokemon Stadiums 1 and 2, like if they remake it in SD card versions for the Nintendo Switch in the future, keep in mind that we do not want them to change up the original and awesome storylines of those Pokemon games. The only exception is like what they did for the Virtual Console version of Crystal version, where they made it possible now that you can actually catch Celebi legally in the game. But that's the only way you can do it. But it didn't work back in the old days of the cartridge versions of the game for Gold, Silver, and Crystal. But only on Virtual Console version of Crystal version could you actually legally catch Celebi. That's the only way. And so they need to fix that. Keep the storyline and the game exactly the same. Don't patch anything. Don't get rid of the duplicating glitch. I know Game Freak and Nintendo don't like that, but you know what? Honestly, guys, Game Freak and Nintendo, you guys need to realize that players are always going to find loopholes around that. They're always going to find a way to cheat. And you may as well just allow the duplicating glitch to stay, because it's not going away. Like, honestly, I thought it was the most fun glitch in the game that you could do that. So just keep the game the same, the exact way it's always been. The only exception is that make sure that all 251 Pokemon this time are legalized. And make sure that Celebi and Mew and all of those ones can be legal inside of the game, so that we don't have to resort to all this extended stuff where we have to do Game Shark codes just to get all this stuff. But sorry, no offense, Game Freak and Nintendo. If I could, I'd still be using Game Shark codes to get all the infinite rare candies and vitamins, because let's be honest, it takes forever, and I mean forever, to get all of your Pokemon to level 100. And we would just love to have all 251 Pokemon all at level 100 with all their stats maxed out and powerful attacks and custom attacks, so that me and many other people and friends and whoever wants to have epic battles on both of the Pokemon Stadium games, we want to be able to do that in such a short amount of time. We don't want to have to take many months or years, Game Freak. Now, Game Freak, Nintendo, listen to me right now. Let's be honest here. We do not want to wait for many years of training all of those Pokemon, all 251, just to get them to level 100. The process takes way too long, and we're looking to have super powerful level 100s, custom Pokemon of our own, with our own custom attacks, maxed out stats, so we can have the most epic Pokemon battles ever on Pokemon Stadium 2. I mean, come on, get real, Game Freak and Nintendo. Even you guys should be able to figure this out. Like, this is why you guys should, this is Game Freak and Nintendo, to you, directly to you guys, I'm telling you right now, this is why you should always listen to the Pokemon veteran fans, the veteran Pokemon fans, because we are the ones who come up with the best ideas for games. I'm not saying that's the case with all fans, but most of them. So I'm going to tell you right now that if you don't have an updated version of the Stadium games in Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, and Silver and Crystal for SD card versions, and don't have a way to play custom Pokemon in those Stadium games in the Nintendo Switch era, then you're living a life full of crap. Like, you guys are just nothing but BS if you don't learn to update that into the current Nintendo Switch era. Like, seriously, Game Freak and Nintendo, you need to get your butts in gear and make this thing happen. It's just obvious. So, my best moments of my childhood, some of my best moments ever, were because of those epic battles on Pokemon Stadium 2, with all those powerful legendary Pokemon and other cool Pokemon that we liked, having a level 100 with strong attacks and having a great time. And come on, why not? It's just so much fun. But you know how Nintendo and Game Freak are these days, guys. They're so stubborn about these things, and they don't seem to care. But they need to, because otherwise we're going to have to boycott Nintendo and Game Freak, or we're going to have to stop buying their games and buying their stuff. It's the only way we can teach them a lesson that, hey, if you're not going to help the fans get what they know is the right thing to do in order to make Nintendo and Game Freak much better, then you're going to lose a lot of veteran Pokemon fans, Game Freak and Nintendo, if you don't fill in these requests from people. Like, it's just going to happen otherwise, that we're all going to leave you. We're all going to abandon Game Freak and Nintendo if you guys can't fix these problems. And to Game Freak and Nintendo, it may not seem like a big deal to you guys, but for veteran Pokemon fans, it's the biggest deal. I'm telling you right now. I mean, you know what I mean. Like, us veteran Pokemon fans, we understand this. We played the Pokemon Stadiums 1 and 2 in our childhood. And we loved all those mini games, by the way. That was so much fun. Like all the mini games that you had in there too. I also kind of wish that they had made a Pokemon Stadium 3 to match the Hoenn era with Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald versions. That would have been cool. Could you imagine a Pokemon Stadium game playing with Groudon, Kyogre, Rayquaza, Latios, Latias, Deoxys, Metagross, and Swampert, who else is missing? Blaziken, Sceptile, like all of those super awesome Pokemon, including Registeel, Regirock, Regice, and then later on there was eventually Regigigas, or whatever you call that one. I mean, could you imagine how awesome that Pokemon state would have been? I mean, having said that, I know that at the time they released other games that were kind of like the whole stadium concept because of how it was in a circle ring concept and then you pre-chose your attacks like a typical Pokemon RPG game. Because they had all of those ones like Pokemon Coliseum and other ones related to that, which were cool. Don't get me wrong, they were, but they still could have made a Pokemon Stadium 3. Supposedly, there are some other Pokemon fans that claim that in Japan only that they have a Pokemon Stadium 3. If that ends up being true, then that's just absolute BS, because why not release it to America? And this is a thing that I've never liked about Nintendo Japan and Japan in general for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And some things that are exclusive only to Japan and the Asia region. And it's BS. Like, why should it have to be in one region only or one country only? Like, what about America? What about Europe? What about other parts of the world that would like to have all of those exclusive things too? It shouldn't be just all in favor of like Japan only or one region only. It's just dumb. So anyways, guys, that's it for the stadium talk for now. I'm still thinking on if I want to make another video today or not, but so far, this is what I have, and I just wanted to tell you guys, make you aware of these things, why this is so important, that we need to push this whole thing with making sure that we can have a modern era of the stadium games and the old school Pokemon games and make it accessible so we can play those with those epic, cool, custom Pokemon, fighting it, duking it out during the Nintendo Switch era. So you guys have an excellent night. This has been awesome. I finally had the time to make a video today, and I just want you other veteran Pokemon fans to know how much I love you guys. You guys are so awesome. You guys are like the only ones besides me that understands these things, like brother from another mother type thing. But you know what I mean. We all have the awesome childhood brotherhood thing where we all understood. We were raised in the same era. We know what's awesome. And I'm going to say bye for now. All right, take it easy, guys. Have a good one.